Hey besties, Monica Ferguson here and welcome to World Domination. This is a safe space for absolute legends who are bold enough and brave enough to go within, to recreate their belief system, to aim high, to chase their wildest dreams and become everything that they are destined to be. This is a space for people who are serious about growth, about healing. We talk about all things mind, body, spirit, and we have the courage to go further than most people even dare to dream. Welcome, let's get into it. Monica Ferguson here and welcome to World Domination. This week we are talking about the pressure builds the diamond. And you know what? I'm absolutely obsessed with talking about this right now. The actual process of transformation, the actual process of growth, because I know my own personal experience, right? I just feel like I was not prepared for any of this. I feel like what we see online especially is such a superficial, fluffy highlights reel version. And I honestly feel like it's my duty at this point to actually speak the truth. And for those of you guys that have listened to one of my recent episodes that I did with Stephen Burns, our Scottish pal, it was so good. It was all around the fear of the unknown, right? And I hit him with some big questions, some big like fake scenarios. And I did it very intentionally, where I asked him about, let's say your life has completely crumbled to ruins and, your wife left you and your business failed and all these things, these huge things happen. Like, how do we deal with that? And he gave us some really good practical tips. So I definitely recommend going back and checking that one out. But where I'm going with this is that I'm speaking to those of us who are on a long-term journey, right? We're not here for a good day here and there. We're here for a good life. We are here for massive transformation. We're the generational cycle breakers. Most of us are the weird black sheep in the family that didn't really fit because we thought differently. We saw the world differently. We're the ones that have gone within and we're doing the work that the rest of our family probably didn't do. The emotional work, the healing work, the growth work, we have the desire to break the cycles. And that is not a small thing, my friend. Like, this is not a little thing, and it's not something that willpower and a positive attitude is going to lead you through. It's just not. And so I know for me, it drives me absolutely insane every time I see some stupid video pop up online where it's like, just trust in the unfolding. Everything is magical. Just manifest your dreams. Just make a vision board and everything is incredible. And in the same breath, though, they'll say, well, you've got to give up your old life to get your new life, right? Yeah. But they gloss over that part. Why? Because no one would want to buy anything if you knew what that actually meant. Right? At the end of the day, there's so much just BS. In my opinion, there is so much BS because many, many people are running a business, right? And the truth, like I say, is not sexy. The truth is not easy. It's not pleasant, but it's where the real change comes from. And I have come to accept the fact that I am not for the masses. Like, I am here for the people that genuinely want to transform their lives and are willing to do what it takes. And so often people are just presenting lies, like there's this person online who pops up from time to time, and her whole message is just this really fluffy, super like spiritual, like high vibe, one of those types of people. Just surrender, just let go, just trust the process, just detach. When you don't care anymore, it'll come in. And all that kind of stuff, right? Just everything is magical. That's something that she says all the time. Everything is so magical. The unfolding is magical. Your dreams, your desires. Now, to me, look, I get that there are people for everyone, right? And there are moments when that's useful. But when that's the entire message, we are not serving our audience well if we're not actually speaking the truth. Because the truth is that your new life is going to cost you your old life. And what that means is an absolute crumbling and destruction of everything that was. And it's violent. Like, it's not like one day you wake up with a new belief and you suddenly feel good. What happens when you step up and no one else in your life does? Do you think that people are just going to be nice about that? They're not. And this doesn't mean that we don't do it. Of course we do, because we're called for more, we're meant for more. But when we understand that people are going to project, people are going to attack, that when we decide that we're going to step up, we're not just magically going to manifest out of thin air our desires. That the dream partner isn't just going to magically show up at our doorstep knocking on the front door. The perfect circumstances that we want are not just going to unfold, right? What's going to happen is that when we are clear and intentional about, okay, cool, this is what we're doing now. This is where we're going now. You're going to be given the path to get there. So if your path is an amazing relationship, you're going to have to become an amazing person first. And don't get this twisted. You're already incredible, obviously. But what I mean by that is you have to become the version of yourself that is a match to that amazing relationship. And the reason that you don't have it yet is because there's still some subconscious programs, some fears, some emotions, some beliefs that have been left unchecked that are still driving your behavior, right? So this is where I speak so much about, my experience and my own healing, because in order for me to get to these, like the amazing relationships, the business, the growth, all these things, I had to go in and do so much unpleasant work. And it doesn't stop. Like, we get better at moving through it. We get better at understanding it. We get better at trusting the process. But personal development is a journey. And as long as we are continuing to grow, we're going to continue to be faced with things that are uncomfortable. Because simply if it was comfortable, we would already have it, right? The fact that we don't have it is because there's a part of us that's been resisting the next level. And I want to be real with you guys. I want to be transparent. Like every episode we speak about the subconscious mind and how it works and how it's trying to protect you and keep you safe. I've given you a lot of tools on what to do. But this episode, I actually really wanted to focus on 5 things. 5 things that you can do, 5 things that I do all the time to actually keep myself moving forward, to keep myself on the right path. And sometimes that doesn't feel like moving forward. Sometimes it feels like you're being pulled back, and the struggle and the suffering and the pain and the grief and all these things that come up, which are of course part of the process because it's leading you to what you've asked for. But sometimes we have to release stuff that's stored in our body, release grief, release pain, release things that are blocking us from the next level version of us, right? Because everything is energy. It's all frequency. So if we're calling in a loving relationship, but we're still holding a bunch of shame and unworthiness in our body, guess what? You're not a match. Because the version of you that has that amazing relationship knows that they're valuable, knows that they're worthy. And I don't mean like you have to be arrogant and you have to have this like perfect thoughts all the time. What I mean is though, your unconscious belief, your general belief, most of the time, is that of course you're worthy. Right? This is the work. Now, if you haven't listened to my episode from last week, I really spoke about this toxic positivity thing. So I feel like this is a natural progression from that episode where I don't want anyone to think, oh my God, I have to think perfect thoughts all the time or else I'm going to create things that I don't want. No. As I spoke about in last week's episode, it's our dominant thoughts that are emitting out, right? It is our dominant belief system. That's what's creating our life. Dominant is only 51%, which means that you're allowed to feel and think everything else. And in fact, that is how you're going to break through. When you can actually be present with what's really there, that's how you clear it out of your body. But if uncomfortable stuff comes up and you shove it back down and you go, nope, don't want to feel that today. That's awful. That feels yuck. That makes me feel like I'm a failure or I'm not good enough. So I'm just going to pretend that's not there. You've just shoved it back down into your subconscious where it's running your life, right? So, all right. The pressure builds the diamond, okay? The pressure is where the diamond is formed. And there is no other way around this. In order for us to create whatever the result is that we're looking to create. Love, money, success, health, happiness, joy, purpose, becoming an author, becoming a parent, I don't know, whatever it is for you, right? It's pressure that's going to build the diamond. It's not just going to magically appear. And so when we can start to embrace that, okay, cool. So everything that's actually coming up is helping me become a diamond. Then we can start navigating it differently, right? Instead of resisting pain, resisting discomfort, when we realize that the acceptance of what is will move energy so fast. If you have all of this pain, right? If you feel like grief about something and you allow yourself to feel it and to cry it out or to whatever you want to do to process that energy, when you allow yourself to simply feel it and release it, guess what? It's gone. Remember, emotions are energy in motion, right? So when you allow your emotions to be felt, that energy leaves. And that means it's no longer in your subconscious belief system. It's not holding you back. That's how you create the results that you want. You got to feel that stuff, all right? You got to feel all of it. And so often, this is a brutal process. And again, I don't want to scare anyone off from growth, but I was just so unprepared. I was surrounded by coaches that I had paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and they did not prepare me for this. In fact, some of them actually shamed emotion. They were so emotion averse, they didn't want to deal with it. They wanted to obsessively control everything in their own head, that I was never given the option to actually process and feel. And so guess what? I didn't get the results. And then when I started leaning in to the present moment, whatever that was bringing up for me, that's when my breakthroughs came from. When I allowed myself to feel exactly what I needed to feel, whether it was fear or panic or loneliness or disappointment or grief or all of the things, right? When I simply brought myself back into the present moment, into my body, and I was like, okay, I choose to trust that since I'm in this moment right now, this is where I need to be. So I'm going to lean into this instead of being like, oh, that's so uncomfortable and unpleasant, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to go and distract myself with something else. No, because I got sick of waiting. Now I'm not a patient person, right? I honestly am not. I like things to happen fast. And so if I'm like, oh, here's a block, here's a fear, here's some resistance that's been keeping me back from getting the thing that I want, I run headfirst into it like a bull. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I feel like I've gone through so many levels of this that I understand the process. The process is that there's going to be a trigger that comes up, some fear, some pain, some resistance. That is there for you. It's coming up because it's ready to be cleared. Your subconscious mind is a genius. And because it's there to keep you safe and alive, it's never going to bring things to you that you are not in a position to deal with. Okay. So the fact that this emotion or this fear or this pain or this real heavy discomfort is coming up means that my body is ready to release it. Yes, go me. It means I've done enough work and created enough safety in my body that I'm ready to release this thing that's been holding me back. So now I have a choice. I have a choice to feel it, to process it, to release it. Okay? And so I'm always going to do that because guess what? Then you level up faster. And then you get another one. And then you move through that and you get another one. And meanwhile, your life is starting to shift. Because simply as you change who you are and who you're being, your external world must reflect that. This is the law of attraction, right? This is universal law, energy. You can't hold a certain frequency and attract something that's not that frequency. And because your subconscious mind is 95% of your mind, that's what matters, right? So you might think, oh no, I know that I'm worthy. Of course I know that I'm worthy. But in your body, you're still holding on to shame from childhood or hurt from people that spoke to you like you were worthless. That's still manifesting. That's still creating in your life. So it doesn't matter what your conscious mind thinks. It matters what your body thinks, what your body feels, which is why we must release this stuff. Okay, so the pressure builds the diamond. So 5 things. I'm going to give you 5 things. And these things work. And I repeat these constantly. And it might sound super basic, but of course, it's the application that makes the difference, right? So many people have the knowledge, but they don't apply it because the application is the hard part. The sitting with the stuff is the hard part. Some of the stuff that I've moved through, oh my God, like especially around survival stuff. When I was healing like significant childhood trauma, and as it comes up, right, your nervous system is on fire because it feels like this is happening now. It's not, but it feels like your body is responding as if it's happening now. I had to work so hard to hold myself in the present as my heart was racing like I was in fight or flight. And I remember I was sitting, like this was not even that long ago, sitting on my bedroom floor trying to ground and just being so present with my body. Like I literally put my hand on my heart, like I was almost hugging myself. And self-talk is everything, right? This is where all of that self-worth work is going to come into play. Because when you can love yourself enough to be like, you know what, I've got you, I'm safe, I'm not leaving you, that's when you can clear stuff. But if you're like, oh, it's too scary and too uncomfortable, and you start beating yourself up, oh my God, why am I so weak? Why is this still coming up? You're never going to move through it. It starts with self-love. It starts with self-compassion, right? Okay, this could easily be a 20-part series, obviously. So let's get into it. The pressure builds the diamond, 5 tips. So if you are in a situation right now where things are so bleak or scary or hard, you're just getting so much resistance and so much fear and so much just negative, what feels negative, right? So much stuff that's coming up and it's just overwhelming. The number one thing that I want you to do is ask yourself, what do you need right now? What do you most need right now? Now, this is not what do you think you should do, but for you to actually tune into your own body, your own knowing, your own intuition, because you are a genius. You are the best person to be you, right? So the whole key is that you learn to start trusting yourself. So you ask yourself, in this moment, what do I most need right now? What's going to help me most right now? And it might be completely illogical. It might not make sense at all. It might be that you literally need to go and like starfish your garden, lie on the ground, and that might ground you. It might be that you feel the need to like exercise or dance or sing. That's all going to move energy. It might be that you just want to get in your car and go for a drive somewhere. It doesn't matter what it is. The key is that you tune into your own innate knowing and you act on it, because your mind knows what you need right now. It might be you need to go and have a bath. It might be you need to have a huge cry and call your friend. It doesn't matter what it is, just do it, okay? Because this is where you're starting to build that trust with yourself. And when you're actually communicating with yourself like that, this is where your breakthroughs are going to come from. Because your body is always speaking to you, but are you listening? Or are you ignoring it, right? Okay, so number 1, what do you most need right now? What is going to help you right now in this moment? Because you're not going to break through if your body is in a state of like panic or overwhelm. You're not going to get the solutions. So what you first want to do is just calm. You want to regulate yourself, right? So do whatever you're feeling called to do. When you tune into yourself and your body tells you what to do, just do that thing, right? Now, once you're calmer, I want you to ask yourself this question. Really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is going on right now? What is being revealed to me in this moment? And it might be, I feel so anxious. I feel really scared about money. I feel so nervous that something terrible is going to happen. Whatever it is, right? Self-awareness. And you can do this however you want. If you process well by journaling, do it. If you process by talking out loud to a friend, do it. For me, I find meditation really useful. So I'll just be quiet and be really still, and I'll just ask myself these sorts of questions, right? And then you trust what comes up. So if I sit with myself and I'm like, what's really going on here? Oh, I feel really scared. Okay, what do I feel scared about? I feel really scared that that nothing's going to work out. I feel really scared that, this breakthrough is never going to come. And what if this is like this for the rest of my life? And what am I going to do? And oh my God, and you allow yourself to feel whatever comes up. Oh my God, I feel like such a failure. Okay. Whatever those feelings are, allow them just to be there. Because remember, this is old energy clearing out. And so the way that you handle this is so important, because the old you would have gone, oh shit, that is so awful. That feels so horrible. I'm just going to push it back down. I'm just going to go and take some action, go back to work, go do something, distract myself. I don't want to deal with this. But you know what happens if you don't deal with it? Nothing. It's going to come up again. It's going to keep coming up until you deal with it. And that might be the rest of your life. Look around. Most people are still carrying stuff from when they were little kids because they never actually faced it and healed it, right? So that was the old you. The new you is going to go, what's being revealed to me? Oh my God, I have this real fear about money right now. I feel really lonely. I feel like I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. Beautiful. Whatever it is, bestie, just honor it. Just be there for yourself. You are your own best friend. We are done with this self-judgment and this shame. Who cares? If you have this fear that says, oh my God, I feel like I'm a failure and a loser, why would you beat yourself up about that? You need compassion, you need love, because guess what? That came from somewhere, and it likely didn't come from you. So why would you continue to hurt yourself if you're already hurt? The fact is, you can celebrate yourself for having the courage to sit in this space and feel your real feelings. Do you know how many people are willing to do that? Very few, right? Very, very few. It takes immense courage to do that. And so number one, what do you need right now? Number two, what is actually going on in my body? And you can feel it. Feel the sensations. Ask yourself, what is actually happening? What do I feel right now? Right? What is being revealed to me in this moment? And it might be that you've got a specific situation in your life that you're like, I feel really uncomfortable about something that someone said to me. I feel really unsafe in my relationship. I feel really scared that I'm not going to be able to pay that bill. Or, it might be something specific like that. And when you have the awareness, then you have the power to do something about it, okay? So number three is actually do the work. Actually deal with it. We're not avoiding it anymore. Now, if it is something practical, like a bill or something like that in the short term, find a way to sort it out, okay? We're not going to go and do a bunch of deep diving mindset work yet, because while your basic needs are not met, you're not going to be able to go into that deep space. So whatever you need to do in the present moment to look after things, do it, okay? But then once you're kind of out of immediate danger, if that's where you're at, if there's something that's like just, swallowing you up, we want to deal with that first. But once you've kind of created a bit more calm, a bit more neutrality, we want to deal with the actual belief that caused that problem in the first place. Okay, so if it is something like money, what we know is that you have some subconscious stuff going on, some beliefs, some stories, some old shame, some feelings, some emotions, things that are in your body right now and in your mind right now that are holding you back, that are blocking you from receiving. Okay, so here's where we have the power to change our entire lives, right? So when we can look at this without shame, this is where you're going to get results. Instead of being like, oh my God, I'm such a loser, I can't believe I'm this age and this is where I'm at. No. Remember, your subconscious mind is there to keep you safe and alive. So anything that it's held on to up until this point, it has done it because it thought it was in your best interests. So why would we punish ourselves for trying to keep ourselves safe? We won't. What is happening now is that you now have the power to choose something else. So you can start looking at the actual stories and beliefs that you're telling yourself. Okay? What do you actually believe about money? What are the actual feelings you have around money? Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it you feel like a failure? You feel like no one would ever hire you because you don't think that you're good enough? Or self-judgment? Or did your parents teach you that only bad people have money? And so you really want wealth. You really want to create wealth, but you feel like you're going to get judged and kicked out of your family if you do it. That will stop you. At an unconscious level, your mind is like, I don't want to be kicked out of the family, so I'm just not going to get rich, which has led you to this moment where you can't pay your bill, right? So understanding it's literally as simple as that. Whatever it is that we're talking about, there is some sort of belief that you have right now that is trying to keep you safe, but it's usually a very outdated belief, right? Like you learned as a little kid. You were taught something as a kid, or you had an experience that made you not want to experience that hurt and pain again. So you've been holding on to this fear or this shame or this whatever it is, pain, and it's been creating your life. And now that you have the awareness of it, you can change it. Okay? So when it comes to this actual work, right? It's gonna be different every time. And so I want to reiterate, your ability to trust your own instincts and your own intuition is the key here. Because I'm not going to sit here and say, you just need to do this. You just need to tap. You just need to go outside and get some fresh air. You just need to exercise. It's going to be different every single time. There are times when I go through stuff when what I need is to move, physically move. I need to sing. I need to exercise. I need to get a sweat on. There are other times that I need to ugly cry in bed for an entire day. I'm not joking. There are times when I need to have a bath, or I need to get in my car and go somewhere, or I literally need to put on kids' movies and watch Lion King and eat lollies. All right, it's like whatever you're needing, give it to yourself. Okay, and so the work is such, like, these are some of the options, right? Like for calming our nervous system, tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique, one of the greatest tools I have ever discovered. Message me if you want to learn more about this, or just go onto YouTube, type in tapping, it'll come up. Hypnosis is another one that I use a lot. I use this daily for myself. Hypnosis and EFT are my two go-to tools. And then, of course, things like journaling, things like singing, any form of expressive thing I find really helpful, art, stuff like that, depending on what it is, right? And of course, you can work with me one-on-one because it's a lot easier for someone else to see your blind spots, right? But I'm just giving you the tools. If that's not an option for you right now, this is something that you can do immediately to start shifting things. Because when you discover, oh, hey, I have this fear of like, that I'm going to be poor forever. I have this fear that it's never going to work out. I have this fear that I'm not good enough, that I'm not lovable. Then you can literally start to challenge that belief. Where did it come from? Who taught you that? Is it actually true? Of course not, right? So that's when you can start challenging your own belief. And once you've made the unconscious belief, story, feeling, fear conscious, you then have a choice. It's not just running, like it's not blindly running your life anymore. You have the option and it's a choice. And so then that's when you can hold yourself through meditation or whatever it is to actually feel and process the feelings around that. And it will literally drain out of your life. And then it's not running you anymore. And that's when you rise to the next level, right? Hopefully this makes sense. So the last couple of things I just want to add on before I go is self-talk. As you would have noticed throughout these first 3 steps, self-talk is everything, right? It's time for you to become your own best friend, to treat yourself with love and self-compassion. No more shame, no more judgment. The fact is that if you're sitting here listening to this, if you're willing to face whatever's coming up for you, you're already an absolute beast. Like compared to almost everyone, you're doing work that no one else is willing to do. At the very least, that is something you can celebrate yourself for. Okay? But be proud. Be proud of your courage. Be proud of your resilience. Be proud of the fact that you could have just never faced this and you're choosing to do it now. There is no point in beating yourself up for the past. Because remember, your own mind thought that it was safe for you to stay where you are right now. That's 95% of your mind has been running your life. You didn't know that this was going on until now. So there's no point in regret or shame or anything like that. Okay. And the final thing I want to add in is faith. Whatever that means to you. So I know that sometimes when I'm in like a really dark space and I'm moving through some really uncomfortable, hard stuff, the last thing that I want to do is go to God because I'm angry and I'm like, listen, I sound so together in this podcast, but even with all of this wisdom and this knowledge that I have and the tools that I have, when I'm going through it, I am not always like love and light, right? Because I feel everything. So if I'm angry, I feel angry. When I'm exhausted, I feel exhausted. I can get resentful. I can feel all of it, because that is the key, to feel our real feelings, not to bypass them. So sometimes when, you're moving through a huge fear or something and your nervous system is fried, the last thing I want to do is go to God, because I'm angry at God, because I'm blaming God for this moment, even though this is actually happening for me, right? And what I've learned is that when I go to God, I start to receive love. I start to tune into how loved I am, even in this moment, and that I was separating myself from that love. Right? And I know that, faith is different for everyone. And for me, I'm big on relationship. I think that when we're all connected to the truth of actually where we come from and how loved we are, it makes this stuff easier. When you realize that you're not actually drowning in this alone. You're starting to tune into what else is going on outside of you. This is part of a much bigger picture. And when you can trust that you're here in this moment because this is where you need to be, because this is actually going to get you to your breakthrough, which is going to lead you to being this beautiful, like heart-led person on this planet who makes a difference. It's more palatable, isn't it? So those are my 5 tips, besties, and I hope that these were useful for you. Please just repeat them. It's going to take practice, and you're going to do it over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life. But this will make such a huge difference for you. And I'm so proud of you for showing up for yourselves. Send me a message if you want to chat about working together one-on-one. I would love that. And I'll see you next week. And that is a wrap. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for being here. And please let me know your aha moments. I want to hear all about them. For extra support, make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram at @TheMonicaFerguson. Check out the School of Greatness for self-study courses. And of course, if you want one-on-one mentoring, just DM me and I would love to have a chat with you. Go and slay the day. Thank you for being you. See you soon.